Working for a video game company can be lucrative, prompting many schools to create their own game design classes. As KLTV7's Jamey Boyum reports, a Longview ISD instructor can now offer his students some inside information since he's been designing his own game for several years.
Joe Mann says he brought video game design to Longview ISD and has a contact with Gearbox Software out of Dallas. He plans on using that to steer his students at Foster Middle School in the right direction.
Just trying to get the industry to connect with the youth on the right level, not a hobbyist trying to do it, but somebody from the industry. Why not go to the actual people that's in the industry that's making billions and hundreds of millions of dollars off the games themselves?
Mann has begun designing a complex video game himself. He has characters and a story plan that he believes could develop into a sellable game, and
the goal is to bring students that are interested along on the journey.
He says he'd like to get student input for aspects of his game.
Korai Suzume Bachi, which stands for Black Hornet.
He points out that a future game designer must be more dedicated than an hour of class a day. 8th grader Davin Jeffrey has been a student of Mann's for 3 years.
In high school, if they offer coding classes and classes like this, computer science and stuff, I would like to pursue those type of classes.
Mann says because of child labor laws, students can't actually work on Black Hornet, but they can make suggestions.
And in exchange for their input, we give them co-producer credit for the game.
He says that will begin to happen soon. In the meantime, students design their own games for a grade.
I've been able to get good grades in his class. He's definitely teaching the material correctly.
Davin has created 3 games now under Mann's tutelage, and it looked like it'll be a while before it's game over for either of them. Jamey Boyum, KLTV 7 News.
Mann says his plan is to see his game completed, funded, and released, so part of the profits can be used to set up some student scholarships.